Hey guys, it's dfisher here. I'm here with the owner of Frosty's, Ben Frost. So we're just gonna get right into this. Just tell me a little about yourself, Ben.
My name is Ben Frost. Obviously, I started Frosty's Apparel when I was going into my junior year at Florida State University, and initially just started it off out of necessity, and it's grown into something a lot bigger and better than I could have imagined.
So when you say necessity, what do you necessarily mean by that?
Um,
What was the market that you were jumping into?
well, when I do say out of necessity, it's something that when I started my business, I was at a point in my life where my parents couldn't transfer me money. The economy wasn't great, and I've told a lot of people the story, and I'll tell it again. Is that I started my business with $25. So I had $25 in my bank account when I started Frosty's, and I was at a point where I was deciding if I was going to go out that night or I was going to eat, and I decided to take that money. I put it into Frosty's, and the rest was history.
Oh, that's great stuff. So just tell me the basis of your business, what it is, like what it started off to be, and
Okay.
from there.
Well, it started off because I've always had a design background. When I was younger, I taught myself how to use Photoshop and Illustrator and all that kind of stuff. And I was always big into lacrosse. And when I graduated high school, right before I came to Florida State, I actually got a job working for a big sports apparel company called Lacrosse Wear. And uh, they had me pick a bunch of design requests, and I ended up getting really good at that. So I did have some type of background, and then my sophomore year, still had no job at this point. I entered in a contest for Under Armour. It was Under Armour internship contest, and it was all like social media based driven, but there was a lot of different sections within the contest. And I was in the design section, and here I am just a sophomore at the time, and I got top 3 in the nation. I didn't win, but I was essentially designing apparel for Under Armour. That's what I was doing.
Well, still, so it's like
Exactly.
when you see you do that well, you kind of see yourself doing well in that
Exactly.
market.
And I got lucky because one of my buddies from another fraternity hit me up. He's like, "Hey, we know that you've been designing stuff for Under Armour. You think you could do a shirt for us?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." So I designed a shirt. It was for Pike. It was a Pike retro shirt. And at this point, I was just like, you know what? Why don't I just figure out how to try to get this made, and figured out a way to get it made, and then just snowballed from there. Other people started using me, and
Oh, that's perfect.
that's how it started.
All right, so you obviously didn't start your business with a lot of money. You said earlier $25. So how did you continue to grow your business and find a location to start it, and from there on?
Well, with that, I got kind of lucky. At the time, apparel for the Greek market was ordered in a caveman way. It was essentially, let's say your fraternity wanted to sell a shirt to sorority, they would print out a picture of the shirt on a piece of paper. They would go around to every single sorority with that printed thing, put a manila envelope, and that's how people paid. People paid, and money could get stolen, and all the problems that a lot of companies are currently having were happening back then. So at the beginning, I didn't even need a location. All my orders were online. Everything was strictly online, and I was one of the first apparel providers in Tallahassee to go the online
So
route.
you do it online. People would order through your website that I'm sure you developed, and then how would they get distributed to all the people?
Okay, so essentially, we started creating these order windows, so people would order within a specific amount of time, and then the shirt would get produced. So distribution-wise, they've always been the apparel provider prints the shirts, put them in a box, and drops off that box to the organization. That organization handles distribution. And that's been the biggest problem for the past few years is people ordering shirts and not getting shirts. And that reflects on me as a business, even though we've done what we should do, and that's produce the shirts and drop it off, but there's a lot of things that get lost in the mix. So that's why we've changed our process a little bit.
And how's that? The process of individually packaging them and sending them to the individual person, or how's it work?
Yeah, that's a recent change we just made. Like I said before, we were doing the drop offs to the organization. They handle distribution. then we thought of doing it a little differently. So we decided that we were going to still drop off to the organization, but we were going to have it, organized for each fraternity, sorority, whatever it is, for easy distribution. That didn't really work, and so we're just constantly trying to innovate and do new things and make our customers and everyone else's lives a lot easier. Because I mean, it's 2015, almost 2016. Mm-hmm. People are used to the way Amazon works, ship direct. So that's what we're doing now.
All right. So in order to grow your company, I'm sure there's a few things you got to do, like promoting, advertising, all that kind of stuff. Like, where did you start and how did you do it?
Well, initially we did no advertising at all. All the business we were getting was word of mouth. I was doing, honestly, no marketing on Facebook, Instagram, or any of those other social media platforms. Because at first it was just me. It was me I was literally handling every aspect of the orders. And I didn't even have time to do that. I couldn't do that. And then it got to the point where I started hiring some more employees. My staff grew to where we are now. And it was just recently, probably around 2 months ago, not even, that I hired girls to run my social media. I hired a team. They're great. They do a really good job. So, we've also gotten lucky. A lot of our work has been featured on Total Frat Move, Total Sorority Move, Bro Bible. So we've gotten a lot of good publicity just from viral videos. But honestly, it's just been word of mouth.
Yeah, so from you saying Bro Bible, Total Frat Move, and all those different websites, those are pretty much sorority, fraternity-based organizations. So would you say your main market is the Greek society?
Yeah, I definitely the Greek organizations is definitely where we get a lot of our orders from, but we're also branching into other things. I just recently started working with DimMac, which is Steve Aoki's record label. So we've been doing a lot of work for them. We sent out a bunch of promotional shirts for them to Los Angeles. So we're working with other companies. We're also doing some stuff for Tallahassee downtown. So we're definitely branching out because you can't always be doing fraternity sorority shirts because their school schedule and whatnot gets slow. So when their schedule is slow, business is slow, and we don't want that.
Yeah. So I mean, as you said, you're branching out, growing your company, doing all that stuff. When you're small, things are easy, but they're harder in certain aspects, like easier, and you don't have to deal with all the legal stuff. Like now that you're growing, the legal restriction, all that legal requirements you have to deal with.
Yeah, and that's been the biggest thing. Is it's all a learning process for me. Originally, when I first started, I was just like, all right, I'm gonna design some shirts for these organizations. We'll pump them out. I'll make some money here and there, and whatever. And it ended up I had no idea, but I was on people's radar as this kid's doing stuff. I wouldn't say illegally, but there's certain things that you need to do to be able to produce stuff for fraternities and sororities. For example, I have to be Greek licensed. So I'm currently Greek licensed. I'm a Greek licensed vendor. So I have to pay a royalty fee to a governing body who then handles distribution to all the organizations. So there's like a 8.5% royalty fee that I have to pay per order for fraternity, sorority, stuff like that.
Does that sort of add up after a while?
It definitely adds up. It definitely adds up, and that's a lot of people don't understand that you actually have to do that, and every design you make has to get approved by them. So
in today's society, I mean, everything's really based off technology. Technology is every turn there's some new technology coming out to make things easier for everyone. Do you have any technology that you use that really helps your business?
Yeah, that's been kind of our main focus the past 2 months is definitely getting our processing down. Honestly, we do use technology. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is because you never know who's watching this video. I'd rather not tell my competitors what we're doing over here. But we are using technology and we're doing everything we can to facilitate speed. That's our main focus. Our main focus is speed because we know people want their stuff fast.
Yeah. So when you get the orders through online, obviously, and then You get the orders. What's the next step after that?
Okay, so whenever we get an order, let's say the order is good to go, we send the design files to our manufacturer, and our manufacturer gets everything ready to go. So order goes in, shirts get ordered. We have 5 different warehouses, at least minimum 5. You know, we can pull from a lot of other places also. We have warehouses in Georgia, New Jersey, Texas, California, Cincinnati. We have warehouses all over the place where we can pull garments from. Primarily, we pull everything from Georgia because it's quicker. And once the shirts come in, the process, you know, there's a long process with screen printing, but
yeah,
when the shirts come in,
the printing process is pretty interesting. How's that exactly work? The printing.
It's a lot. There's a lot of steps. You know, you have to get the files ready for print, and then you have to transfer that to a certain film, and then that film has to get transferred to the screens. It's kind of like a black light process type of thing. Not necessarily black light, but it's a whole thing like that. And then once that screen is good to go, that gets brought to the press, and then they have to set up a line, do all that kind of stuff. And then we have automatic presses that handle everything. But you're still having humans load.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've talked a lot about how the business works, your day-to-day stuff, but I know it's a touchy subject, but what's the worst day you probably possibly had so far in your business?
My worst day? That's a good question. Well, definitely my worst day would have to be, it was probably last year. Yeah, last year, honestly, probably around this time of year, like late November, early December, I had a really unreliable printer. I had a lot of orders that were late. You know, it was just a total disaster. And that was like kind of the turning point for me in my business. I realized I was like, shit, you know, I can't keep doing this if I want this to be a long-term thing. So I had to make a lot of changes after that, but there was a good period of time of like a week that I was just like under a lot of pressure to get things done, and everything was going wrong.
Wow. So did you handle it? Any losses or lost customers?
Yeah. Honestly, like, you know, I lost a very big customer. I lost probably one of my biggest customers because of that unreliable printer. Because it reflected on me at the end of the day. You know, my printer would tell me, okay, it's gonna be ready at this certain day on this time, and I would turn around and tell my customer that, and I would go to pick everything up, and it wouldn't even be done. It wouldn't even have been started. Yeah, so I lost a customer, and they were one of my biggest customers, and I'm just lucky that I finally, as of now, I got them back. I got that customer back. So
that's good news. That was your news.
Because I got my stuff on point now, you know?
Exactly.
So
for any entrepreneur who wants to start a company, what advice would you be able to give them?
There's 3 things that I would tell any entrepreneur or anybody who's trying to start their own business. And the first is you have to know that you're going to struggle. The second is you have to have the vision. And the third is you have to work your ass off. If you combine those 3 things, you're going to be successful. You know, like I said, I've studied entrepreneurs, you know, the most wealthy people in the world you can consider. And each person experienced those 3 things in their lives. They didn't care about anything negative people had to say about them. They worked hard, and they overcame obstacles, and that's how they got to where they were.
Well, hey, I appreciate your time.
Definitely.
Great interview.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.